There are some tight battles within the top 10 in point standings as we enter this event. However, there is the 274-point lead that Dale Jarrett has over Mark Martin in the standings. Now, as we take a look at where the top 10 will be starting today, you can see that Jeff Burton has the worst starting position among the top 10. Bobby Labonte next, starting in 22nd position. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Ned Jarrett. An important member of our broadcast team is not with us today. That, of course, Benny Parsons. He had some eye surgery a couple of days ago, is doing fine in Charlotte. We hope to see him back next week. BP, take care and get well soon. Now let's talk about this race coming up here today. On a road course, Ned, we often see a lot of cars on the lead lap, and that means even if you have trouble in the last lap, you're going to lose position. So driving to the checkered flag is very important.
It is very important. I can't think of any racetrack where concentration is more important than it is here on a road course, and especially Watkins Glen. If you make the slightest mistake somewhere, you can get off the track, and like you say, you can go from the top 5 wherever you might be running to last place. And if you're running for the points championship or for winning the race, you've got to keep that car on track.
Well, Rusty Wallace set a new track record here in qualifying. 42 others are going to be chasing him here today for 90 laps at the Frontier at the Glen. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, and NASCAR, the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, ready to bring you live coverage today of the Frontier at the Glen from historic Watkins Glen International in the Finger Lake region of central New York. ESPN's live coverage at the Frontier at the Glen from Watkins Glen, being brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. By Everstart Battery, all the cold cranking power your truck, car, boat, or mower will ever need, available at Walmart. And by the more than 2,700 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Beautiful day here in Watkins Glen, New York. Our race analysis shows we'll go a little more than 220 miles, 90 laps of competition. They're going for a purse approaching $1.9 million. If no cautions, the fuel window is between 30 and 36 laps, and Mark Martin set the race record in 1995 here at Watkins Glen. Now let's take a look at the Everstart Walmart grid for today's race. Rusty Wallace has his 6th road course, has 6 road course wins here this year, and the first NASCAR Winston Cup start for Boris Said, starting outside of row number 1. In the second row, Jeff Gordon going for 5 straight wins on a road course, and Tony Stewart, this is his first race here at Watkins Glen. Mark Martin has 3 victories here at the Glen. Jerry Nadeau has extensive road course experience. Ron Fellows is making his first NASCAR Winston Cup start. And Bill Elliott got his first Winston Cup win on a road course at Riverside. Dale Jarrett, his best finish here at the Glen, 5th in 1998. Terry Labonte has 2 wins on a road course. Joe Nemechek has 2 8th-place finishes here at the Glen. Bobby Hamilton had a 2nd-place finish at Sears Point in 1998. Jimmy Spencer turned his car over to Boris Said last year after he suffered injuries at Indianapolis. And Dale Earnhardt is in his 600th straight NASCAR Winston Cup start. Ward Burton finished 6th at the Brickyard last week. Darrell Waltrip has completed every lap in his 12 races here at Watkins Glen. Mike Skinner registered a 3rd-place finish here at the Glen last year. John Andretti finished 3rd at Sears Point in June. As we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, Ned, I think one thing we have to talk about is the fact that these drivers have had relatively little practice here. It's been miserable weather-wise, both on Friday and Saturday, and so a lot of these cars that are starting in the mid and back of the pack really haven't shown their potential.
No, they really haven't. In fact, they didn't get enough practice, many of them, to get their cars set up for qualifying on the first day because that practice session was cut short. And then yesterday morning, many of them that didn't make the top 25 were scheduled to re-qualify, and they were setting up for qualifying. They had some really fast speeds, but it rained that qualifying out. And so they didn't really get to set their cars up for the race. So there's some guessing going on, particularly for those back towards the back. Now, the top 25, they're in pretty good shape, I think, the fact that happy hour was rained out, because they did spend yesterday morning setting their cars up for the race.
Here we see the drivers that took provisionals to get into the lineup. Rick Mast and Elliott Sadler, and Ted Musgrave has the final starting position, 43rd. 6 drivers tried but failed to crack the lineup. Robert Presley, Terry Cope, Paul Gentilossi, Jack Baldwin, Hut Strickland, and Dave Marcus. All of those drivers were here but failed to qualify for the event. Well, they're going to take one more lap, and then we will be able to get the green and get underway here for 90 laps of competition. This is a 2.45-mile road course. The front stretch 2,150 feet, and the back stretch, which connects turns 9 and 10, 2,600 feet. And the banking in the corner varies between 6 and 10 degrees. It is a rather interesting race course that they compete on, Ed.
Yes, it is. And this portion right here, Bob, they do not compete on that. That's what they call the boot, and it was used, I guess, in Formula One competition many, many years ago. But they sort of run across here from turn 9 to turn 10, and that makes it 2.45 miles.
As far as passing areas here, Ned, where are the best?
I think one good place is going into turn 1. You have to outbrake somebody going into that turn. We've seen a few passes up through the S's, but that's very rare. And then another place is right here. They break down considerably going into the inner loop, where we see turns 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that's another good place to pass. And then on this straightaway from turn 9 up to turn 10 is another place that we might see some passing as well.
10 onboard cameras will complement our coverage this afternoon, scattered throughout the field. Wally Dallenbach will carry one of our onboard cameras, the Budweiser onboard. He starts back in 26th position. Kyle Petty has the Jimmy Dean Sausage on board in his Hot Wheels Pontiac. Kyle will start 25th. Ricky Rudd has the Tide onboard camera. He starts 24th.
And Bobby Labonte will have the Circuit City camera in the Interstate Batteries Pontiac. He starts 22nd. And Sterling Marlin has the Coors Light camera. He starts 20th. And Dale Jarrett in the Quality Care Ford Credit Ford has the camera starting 9th.
Also starting up in the 8th position will be Bill Elliott. Dale Jarrett has an onboard camera. Bill Elliott starts 8th. McDonald's in car. Mark Martin in the Valvoline Ford has the 5th place starting position. Good look at Mark as he gets set to go. The Federated Auto Parts onboard camera, Boris said, car number 14. As you can see, he's right behind the pace truck. He's in 2nd position, and right beside him is a pole sitter. That is Rusty Wallace in the Miller Lite onboard camera. No, Rusty doesn't have 6 road course wins this year. He has 6 road course wins in all, going for number 7 here today. Down to the doctor.
Bob, one guy to keep an eye on early on might be road racing specialist Ron Fellows, a Canadian out of the SCCA Trans Am ranks. Despite having a transmission problem, an engine problem, and only getting 1 lap of practice on pole day, he qualified that car 7th. He said the car was much, much better yesterday morning. They think they're going to be a major factor early on and make their way to the front very quickly. The car number 87 of Ron Fellows. Let's check in with John Kernan.
One of the interesting things to watch is pit strategy here in today's race. You got Bobby Labonte, top 5 in the points chase. He starts in the back, but he gets exceptional fuel mileage. I was told last year 39 laps. This is a 90-lap race, so early on, Bobby might decide to short pit. Remember, Jeffrey Bodine won this race a few years ago by short pitting and catching a caution out. For somebody who gets good fuel mileage, such as Bobby Labonte, to maybe short pit to work his way to the front.
Settle back, enjoy yourself as we bring you live coverage at the Frontier at the Glen at Watkins Glen International. Sterling Marlin off course in turn 1, between turn 1 and 2. If he can stay out of that sand trap, the gravel will be okay, and it looks like he did, Ned.
Looks like he did, but he went from his starting position of in the top 10 there to last place. Now he gets it going again. as they head into the interloop. Rusty Wallace leading Jeff Gordon.
But one of the things we see when we come to road courses, it's somewhat difficult to lose a lap. We always see a lot of cars finish on the lead lap in these road course races. Everybody else appears to be moving well through the inner loop and on to turn number 9. A car kicking up a little bit of dust there, but everybody is okay. As down this short chute between turn 9 and 10, we see Jeff Gordon giving Rusty Wallace a bit of a challenge, but Rusty hangs onto the lead as they come to turn 11.
Boy, Gordon trying to fake him out one way and then the other. He wants to lead a lap to get those 5 bonus points, but Rusty Wallace wants that as well. As they come down to the line, it is Rusty, but Gordon has a run on him going into turn 1. He might get the lead.
And he has a good position because he's on the inside for the right-hander, and indeed, Jeff Gordon takes the lead, and Boris Said goes to second. So Rusty led the first lap. It's his 5th race that he has led in 1999. He led the most laps in each of the other 4 that he has led, and it's 18th road course race that he has led.
There we see the 9 car of Jerry Nadeau working on Mark Martin in the blue and white number 6. Nadeau takes a look on the right side of Mark Martin.
They gear down and brake for the inner loop. There's Joe Nemechek, who has taken over the 3rd position. That's Ron Fellows, I beg your pardon.
He has made a good move here on these first couple of laps. Not surprising, as one of the pit reporters pointed out. He is expected to be a factor in the early part of this race, and certainly he's on the move.
Ron started in 7th position, has moved to 3rd place. Back here we check on Nadeau, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, and Dale Jarrett. There is Joe Nemechek back there in the 42 car through corner number 11. Once again, and Jeff Gordon has the lead by a little over a half second, and this is the 5th consecutive road course race that Jeff has led, and of course he's going for 5 straight wins on a road course. He's led more than 50% of the race laps the last 4 races, 215 of 404. Up through the S's, Boris Said giving chase, with Fellows running in 3rd spot. The pole sitter Rusty Wallace, who has dropped back to 4th, and then Tony Stewart is 5th. Jerry Nadeau, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, and Joe Nemechek complete the top 10. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Jerry Punch back at Watkins Glen International. Kenny Irwin just got off course, looked like, between turns 10 and 11, so he loses a lot of track position.
Yeah, and that's the 3rd time he's been off track here this weekend, Bob. He got off track on Friday and got into the styrofoam, but they were able to repair the car. And then yesterday he got off into the sand but got through it. Let's see, here he gets off on the right side of the track out into the sand, and it's very important to keep that car pulling here. Boy, if you let off for just a little bit, it'll bog down in that sand and you'll be stuck, and he keeps it pulling, heading back out onto the racetrack, gets it back on.
Of course, that's the purpose of the sand, to slow the car down in case it's going at a tremendous rate of speed, to keep it from slamming into the tire and styrofoam barriers. We've got Jeff Gordon leading by about a second over Boris Said, then Ron Fellows running 3rd, Rusty Wallace 4th. Tony Stewart running in 5th position. We're on board with Dale Jarrett as he is right behind Bill Elliott. Elliott in 8th and Jarrett in 9th.
They've been racing hard here for several laps. Jarrett has not been able to make a pass.
Jeffrey Bodine loses a lap in the pits. John, what's going on?
Bob, the problem, the clutch was slipping. They changed the clutch. They were having problems with the other one. They changed this one on Saturday. Started slipping on, apparently heated up. So they brought it in, put the car on jack stands, got underneath it with a fire extinguisher, and hit it with the solution off the fire extinguisher to try and cool the clutch down.
His last win in NASCAR Winston Cup competition was here at the Glen in '96. Rusty Wallace looks back at Jerry Nadeau, who picks up a spot.
Just made the pass on Tony Stewart, taking over the 5th place. Nadeau, a good road racer, qualified on the outside pole last year at Sears Point. That's inside Rusty Wallace, who has dropped back to 4th. Rusty started on the pole, of course.
And he was very optimistic going into this race. Told us on NASCAR today that he thought the car was right. He felt good, and so he was looking very much forward to a good run here today, but has dropped back to the 4th position at the moment. Here comes Gordon down the straightaway. That car back there in third is Ron Fellows. Perhaps I confused him for Joe Nemechek because that car is co-owned by Joe Nemechek, as Dale Jarrett now passes Bill Elliott and goes to 8th.
Finally got a run coming off of turn 11, and Bill didn't fight him too hard because he knew that DJ had been sitting there right on his back bumper. Maybe the car was a little bit faster. We'll see if he's going to be able to pull away from Bill.
Jarrett coming off a big win last weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400, recording his 4th victory of 1999. And Brett Bodine comes into the pits.
Stop and go for him, Bob. He went straight through the interlude. And here Bobby Labonte has a problem. The interstate battery's Pontiac has spun around. But it's a stop and go for Brett Bodine. No caution anywhere. Not at least at the start-finish line. Brett makes the stop and go and gets back out on the track.
And Bobby Labonte gets going again. Brett Bodine has a new crew chief in Rick Gay and has also hired a general manager, Art Slike, as Bobby Labonte has some extensive damage there to the rear of the car.
Yes, he does. And you can see that the rear part of that, the deck land is pushed up on it, and that's going to affect the aerodynamics of that car and put a lot of pressure down there on the back. Let's see if you can see what happened to Bobby. Unless he got tapped from behind, which is hard to tell. It looks like it just got out from under him.
Like he may have dropped that right front into the rumble strips and lost control, or he may have gotten some assistance. We couldn't tell from that angle, but the bottom line is the car is damaged.
Yeah, that's too bad. Bobby wrecked his primary car here on Friday, had a brake rotor to explode, cut a tire down, and he went into the wall and looked like he was heading into the pits. And so he had to do a job of qualifying to get in the top 25 with a car that had only about a half a lap practice on it. Changed the tires on the car.
That's an onboard camera that's kind of in a different location. John Kernan.
What they're doing is checking to see if around the deck lid and the rear bumper are secure. They changed only 4 tires. Bobby is down and away. They decided not to work on it. Jimmy Makar told the crew, just check it, make sure everything is secure. And there goes the leader, Jeff Gordon-Bach, put Bobby down a lap. They just wanted to make sure that none of the parts would fall off. So they've sent him back out there. Bobby hasn't told the team anything about what might have happened to him out on the racetrack.
Well, that is a tough break. Bobby sitting there in 3rd place in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standing, just a few points behind, less than 20 points behind Mark Martin, who is in 2nd place. And this can be a real damaging blow to his championship efforts.
Been a tough weekend for Bobby Labonte so far. As you mentioned, the crash in practice on Friday. So he and Jeffrey Bodine now are the 2 cars that are not on the lead lap. Back down to John with more on Bobby Labonte.
An update, they were not going to pit actually after that. They were going to keep him out there on the racetrack just to see if everything was all right with the car. But when Bobby got it back up to sort of to speed, he could tell that all 4 tires had been flat spotted. So that's when they made the decision to go ahead and bring him into the pits. But it looks like he'll stay out there where he is right now.
The only saving grace that he has right now, Bob, is that if he can run, if it stays green long enough that the others will have to pit, that should put him back on the lead lap and then get a caution after that before he'd have to pit again. So it's not totally out of it as far as that part's concerned. And look at this racing going on back in the pack.
Good battling going on. That 61 is David Murray. David Green is behind him. That's 34th, 35th, 6th, 7th, and on back. Irwin, who got off course, is in the mix here along with Rick Mast. And Sterling Marlin, who of course got off course on the very first lap, is at the tail of this pack, running in 40th spot.
I think I said when Sterling spun out that he started the top 20. He's making a pass there right now, trying to get one of those positions. He's actually started the top 20 position, not the top 10. But he lost 20-some positions when he did spin out. These guys are going at it hot and heavy.
They sure are. They act like they're racing for the lead. Kenny Irwin again trying to move up. He's alongside David Green, and Ted Musgrave also goes to the inside of David, who had his best start in NASCAR Winston Cup competition last weekend, a 3rd at the Brickyard. Now notice those concrete strips that are in some of the corners. That was done since we were here last year to keep the track from breaking up and provide more traction in the corners. Some of the drivers are saying they like it, some don't. Anyway, It's the same for everybody. Bill Elliott coming up on Joe Nemechek.
Well, actually, Nemechek has gotten around Bill Elliott since we saw Dale Jarrett pass him a little while ago. Nemechek has moved up to 9th. Elliott has dropped to 10th. Trying to move back up and take that position away. We see Terry Labonte right behind them there. Terry, you never know about him. He's a great road racer, and he'll just sit there and ride with them a while, and then all of a sudden you should see him showing up in the top 5.
Terry Labonte has finished 8th or better in 4 of the last 5 races here. There is Jeff Gordon. His advantage over Boris Said is about a second and a half now, and about a 3.5-second advantage over Ron Fellows, who's running in 3rd position. 10 of the 90 laps are completed at the Glen. Jeff Gordon continues to set the pace here at the Frontier at the Glen. Last lap he ran a 119.1. The second fastest car was Ron Fellows at 118.7. We're watching the overhead action courtesy of the Pennzoil Copter Can, which is hovering overhead today in partly cloudy skies. The last couple of days we've had rain and fog that have delayed and postponed some events, but today the weather is looking very, very good.
There were times yesterday when you couldn't have seen Jeff Gordon's car going up
right.
this portion of the racetrack.
Couldn't even get a helicopter in the air yesterday. The CART FedEx Championship Series competes in the Miller Lite 200. That's coming up next here on ESPN this afternoon from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So stay with us for more auto racing after our coverage of the Frontier at the Glen. The caution is coming out. Overall, the 11 car, Brett Bodine, we understand, is stopped on course. And there he is.
This is the area that was so foggy yesterday. As we see Brett Bodine now gets going again. He apparently didn't hit the interlude, but look the way it was yesterday. I mean, you just couldn't see in that area at all during the Busch North Series event.
Visibility very, very poor yesterday. That race was delayed, of course, because of the bad weather. So the first full course caution is waving. It comes on lap number 14. As now we'll see if any pit stops are made, and we'll be back in just a moment. Under our first caution here at Watkins Glen, Brett Bodine stalling back there. What's the problem with his car, John?
Well, Bob, his brother Jeffrey had a clutch problem. Brett apparently having a clutch problem or transmission problem too. He told the crew he couldn't get it in gear, pulled off, and finally was able to get it into first gear to drive it back to the garage area where they're going to change the transmission and replace the throwout bearing. And Bobby Labonte is on pit road as the rest of the field, or most of the rest of the field that I can see from down here, stayed out on the racetrack.
We do see some cars who are running in the mid-back part of the pack coming in, but most of those front runners have elected to stay out. There's Jeremy Mayfield making a pit stop, Kevin LePage, Jeffrey Bodine, and once again, so is Elliott Sadler.
And Bob, we're perhaps in a window. They've completed 14 laps now. 14 from 90 to 76. Divide that by 2, that's 38. We said the pit window 32 to 36. Some of them might be able to gamble and maybe make it on one more pit stop. And they didn't have a whole lot to lose. They were back towards the back of the pack anyway. Jerry?
Well, Dad, listening to the discussion down here in the far end of the pit road in the Jeff Gordon pit and the Tony Stewart pit, Rusty Wallace, etc., none of these guys felt like they could make it on one more stop. They would have to make 2 more stops anyway. And basically, they're about halfway through their fuel allotment right now, so why not stay out? I think Jeff Gordon's philosophy is basically to pit on lap 30 and again on lap 60. But I would not be surprised to see some guys come in around lap 25 and then run 33 laps to lap 58, which will be their last stop, basically short pitting on both their stops, but going all the way up to lap 24 or 25 before they would come in the first time.
And a lot of fans might wonder, what are we talking about short pitting? That's coming in before you would have to. And the reason that you would do that, especially on a road course, you can pit, change 4 tires, put in fuel, and not lose a lap. And then you might catch a caution somewhere in between there before the others would pit. They come in the pits, then you're up at the front of the pack.
Yep. A lot of strategy that is utilized in road course racing doesn't necessarily apply on the ovals. 14 laps completed at the Frontier at the Glen. The lights on top of the pace truck are out. We're about to get a restart. Just before we went green, or rather caution, we had an incident in the inner loop. Johnny Benson came through there, didn't get hit by Wally Dallenbach, who was right behind him, but did loop it around.
Yes, he did. It looked like his left tires hit the curbing down there on the inside, just upset the car, and around he went. But Johnny continued to go on, and green flag is out. We're racing again.
Gordon gets a good jump on Borisset and the others. Now look at him fan out coming down the straightaway. That's Jerry Nadeau back there in that number 9 car. He's to the inside of Tony Stewart, and Nadeau maintaining 4th spot. Here comes Rusty by Tony Stewart.
Yeah, he got a good run going into turn 1. Was able to pick up a position.
Mark Martin with Mark Martin here, who's running in 7th. Remarkable record here at Watkins Glen, and in fact at all the road courses that the NASCAR Winston Cup Series competes on. Through the inner loop. Check out a Napa Field summary and show you the point standings as of now. Jeff Gordon moving up 1 at the moment in the point standings. Stewart down 1, but of course these will change as the laps go by. Childress teammates running there together.
But Mike Skinner has some damage on the Lowe's Chevrolet on the door. Got hit by someone going into a turn, and now his teammate Dale Earnhardt trying to make a pass. There it is. You see a good bit of damage. Somebody's got into him pretty hard there.
Whole left side of the car is caved in.
I think he's wondering right now is, how much it's affecting the performance of the race car, which is being a little bit tentative at the moment, but he goes back by his teammate Dale Earnhardt. Oh, and he gets a bump from his teammate Dale Earnhardt.
And Earnhardt at the same time gets a bump from behind, and we have a whole mess down here. Earnhardt slides off course, avoids the sand trap, but boy, this is gonna
put him way back in the field.
Way back in the field.
You talk about track position, that's giving you that in a hurry.
In fact, he's going to drop back behind Bobby Labonte, who lost a lap earlier because of his incident. So that's going to drop Earnhardt all the way back to 40th spot. He and Mike Skinner, his teammate, were battling for the 14th position, and down in turn number 1, they ran out of racetrack.
Yes, they did. You see, the 31 car, the blue and yellow one of Skinner, gets in there, and he has to go up the track a little bit. Earnhardt had a run going in there, and so he bumps him, and then Earnhardt gets bumped by John Andretti back behind there because he couldn't get stopped.
And from another angle,
there's Skinner going around in the 31 car. Earnhardt thought he was going to get by, but he didn't because he got bumped with the 43 car. And Ricky Rudd did a masterful job of getting through. We'll take a look at it from his head car. Here's what he is seeing. He sees all that happening in front of him. He says, oh, I'm going to go low. No. I need to go back up the middle of the track. Now here comes Earnhardt and go back to the other side. Hey, great job.
Very good job. I don't think he hit anybody or anybody hit him. Here's Jeff Burton picking up his spot from Darrell Waltrip. That's back in about 15th position.
Jeff Burton was very close to that spin of Johnny Benson. In fact, he was the next car behind Wally Dallenbach over there, so he got through that okay. Of course, he's one of the points leaders in the top 5, currently in 4th place.
Here's Wally Burton. And up front, you can see the advantage that Jeff Gordon has on Borisset, who continues to run the 2nd position, with Ron Fellows still running in 3rd. Bill has a report on Mike Skinner.
Well, Mike Skinner's crew says the car is fine. Obviously, they're disappointed about what happened, but no damage is affecting the way that car is handling. Ken Schrader made a brief visit to pit road. He had a flat left rear. Earnhardt's crew is checking for a right side tire rub. The caution is now out for the 36 car, and John Andretti's crew is on the wall. You could see a bunch of guys pit now.
Ernie Irvin is in the sand.
Yeah, he's stuck. Now, he can't go because once that car stops and you try to get it to go, it just spins the wheels and sinks right down into the sand. Too bad for Ernie Irvin.
He was the winner here in 1991. The leaders, I don't think, have taken the caution yet.
No, I don't think so. Jeff Gordon is coming off of turn 11 right now. And no, he's coming through the inner loop there right now. So, no, they have not gotten the caution. A portion of the field has.
Right. And it is our second caution of the day. Watch the upper part of your screen. There's Ernie jumping the curb, getting sideways.
Is that yellow car? Is that Johnny Benson again that avoided this one, maybe?
I believe that was Rich Bickle, who was right behind Ernie.
So he got slowed down and no harm done as far as he was concerned.
But unfortunate for Ernie Irvan, because that car did make it into the sand trap, and that's going to bring out the caution to retrieve that car. Now, with 19 laps completed, I'm sure we're going to see some pit stops coming up here when we return. Second caution is out here at Watkins Glen. The first was for a stalled car by Brett Bodine. This one for Ernie Irvan, who went into the sand trap. He is out of the trap and is back on course. The field has not yet come around, packed up, so that means we have not had the pit stops that we anticipate.
But I believe we will have, Bob. I think they're within the window that they can go the rest of the way with one more stop. Now that would mean that they'd have to run 2 35-lap runs, but because there will be 70 laps to go after they cross the start-finish line this time. Taking a look at Mark Martin's shifter knob there, and see the holes in there. Weight is one thing, and then of course getting a grip on being able to get his fingers in there and getting a grip on it.
Got his left hand stuck out the side of the car, getting a little fresh air in on himself. It's a cool day here at Watkins Glen and very windy, but we will not complain about the weather at all because it's not raining. All right, let's see what happens here as the field comes off corner number 11, and indeed.
Now Boris said stayed out there. He's the leader of the race. Let's go to pits and John.
Morris needed to make about 2 to 3 more laps to hit his window so he can make it on one more stop, so then decided to stay out. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett has come in. I asked Robert Yates how the car was. He said,
yeah, but we still are only going to stop twice, so we just got to hope it
tire
falls.
change for Dale Jarrett, and we'll check and make sure on fuel because they're not really tipping their hand right now. Down to Jerry Punch.
Jeff Gordon in, 4 tires, 2 cans of gas, a half around the wedge in the right rear. They make an air pressure adjustment. Jeff was a little loose in parts of the course, but very tight otherwise. Rusty Wallace right in front of Jeff Gordon. 4 tires. They made an air pressure adjustment. Gordon is down and away. Let's check in with Bill.
Terry Labonte with a slow stop, had trouble on the right rear. Great stop by Joe Nemechek's team. They were pitted right behind him.
Big traffic coming out of pit road. Everybody scrambling for position.
There's a gas can on the racetrack, Bob. Somebody carried it away.
Back to Jerry Punch.
That was Tony Stewart who left pit road with that second can of gas still attached to the side of the Home Depot Pontiac. He came down and they couldn't grab it as he was already pulling away and went down and exiting pit down into turn 1, and the gas can finally came out as they came up to speed, but a tough break for the rookie driver.
Yeah, it's located between turns 1 and 2. Let's take a look at Stewart as he came out of the pits. He's trying to shake it loose, isn't he?
Trying to shake it off, and he finally does. I tell you, that thing was hung on there pretty good.
Yeah, it was. So pit stops have been made. Morissette decided to stay out, so he's going to be leading his first NASCAR Winston Cup race. Back in a moment. The field takes the green flag, and we restart for the second time here at Watkins Glen. And here's Morris leading him down. That's Kenny Wallace. Wally Dollar back right behind him now. Everybody from Boris back to Jeff Gordon pitted earlier down to Jeff.
And a tough break for Tony Stewart, who's coming back down pit road. NASCAR bringing him back in for a stop and go. They're going to try to top the car off. Big Jeff Patterson, this 6'6", 325-pound gas man, will put 1 can of gas in the car, and he will make sure he pulls that can away. And Stewart is down and heading for turn 1.
Stewart trying to keep together his remarkable rookie season in NASCAR Winston competition. He was running in 14th position before the caution came out, but now loses a lot of track position. But again, it's not nearly as critical as it is on some of the ovals.
No, it really isn't. As we see some jockeying going on up here now as those cars who had not made pit stops trying to pass each other. Here's Jeff Gordon, who did make a pit stop, trying to pass some of those who did not.
And as you can see, he lost 9 positions in the pits. Fellows lost 12. So a lot of these guys now are going to be fighting to come up through the field once again. Bill Elliott was 10th when he came in and came out in 21st position. But again, that's because a lot of these cars up here at the front of the field now pitted during the first caution for Brett Bodine. There's Rusty Wallace.
Going around the car number 61 that Jeff Gordon just passed, and that is Dave Murray driving that car. That's not a name that we normally hear in NASCAR Winston Cup competition.
It's the Mark Thompson car that he is driving this weekend. Here's Gordon and Ken Schrader trading positions. That moves Jeff up to the 8th spot.
Now remember, Schrader had it was reported that he had a flat tire and made a green flag pit stop right before this caution came out, so he didn't need to come back in. So that worked out well for him, so he was up near the front, got him some good track position.
There's the pole sitter, Rusty Wallace. In 9th position now. He only led 1 lap so far. That was the opening lap, and then Jeff Gordon took over. Borset with about a 1/3 of a second lead on Kenny Wallace. Now this is the foot cam on Borset. Watch the footwork.
Remember several years ago when we had Ricky Rudd?
1397.
The way he did it? Hey,
yep,
that's pretty.
That's called the heel and toe.
Yeah.
Slamming down on the gas. For a taste of the race, here's the telemetry from Boris's car.
And you can see those RPMs, wow, shot up to well over 9,000 RPMs. He's really turning that thing up just for a short period of time, of course. And the speeds, almost 180 miles an hour. Didn't know they got that fast. Wow. And he's using his clutch, as you can see, to make those gear changes. Many of them don't do that with the Jericho transmission.
He's coming through corner number 9 here, and now he really hits the accelerator. Look at him stand on it and shifting gears coming down this short stretch between turns 9 and 10.
So, folks, he's just not sitting there turning the steering wheel. He's busy, got both feet busy.
Now braking for turn 10. Bit of a short straightaway. And then on the brakes once again for turn number 11. Now watch him gas it coming out of 11. There it is.
Puts his foot down forward, and then he'll change gears here. There he goes. Changes gears. Gets it ready. Pump that brake just a little bit to go into turn 1.
1422.
There, brakes are down. Changes the gear. Gears it down. Gets the gas a little bit. Now he hits it hard. Headed up the hill. Up through the S's. Changing gears, and then holding off the gas a little bit through the S's.
Boris won the Busch Series pole here at Watkins Glen in June of last year, finishing 40th in his only Busch Series Grand National event. Kenny Wallace, how about this, is in 2nd position.
Now Kenny has not stopped either. Apparently he didn't feel that he was within the window, like Boris said, that he could make it on one more stop. So he stayed out there. Here's the 25 car of Wally Dallenbach running in 3rd position in the boat car. And you see that right there? That's the windshield wiper motor. If they had run in the wet or the rain, well, that's, of course, where the windshield wiper would attach to it.
And John has an update on Wally Dallenbach.
Wally Dallenbach is one of the drivers who pitted before this last round of pit stops because the car was exceptionally tight. They put a half spring rubber in each of the rear springs to try and loosen it up. Just check with the team. They said that kind of fixed it about 25%. It's still very tight, but the good news for them is Wally can go to lap 57 right now on fuel, which means just like everybody else who just stopped, he also is only needs one more stop to make it to the end of the race.
He is up through the S's now. They did run a wet session of practice on Friday utilizing the windshield wipers and the wet weather tires, and speed's about a little over 100 miles an hour the fastest, and Rusty Wallace was the fastest. Elliott Sadler's having a good run. He's in 4th.
And he's one of those drivers who have made a pit stop during that one caution. He is having a good run.
Napa Field summary will show you the manufacturer's lead laps. Tony Stewart with so far an easy year in his rookie year. Field coming through. There's Kenny Irwin. Dale Jarrett making a move. Here's Ricky Rudd trying to get to the inside of Kyle Petty.
But he had to fall back in line. He wanted to get to him before he got to that corner and couldn't do it. As we look out his windshield. Now out the back of Kyle Petty's Hot Wheels Pontiac.
Carrying our Jimmy Dean sausage on board camera. Rudd going to the inside once again at the end of the straightaway, but decides to fall back, and David Green is off course.
Yes, but he continues on. See some damage to the right front of this Kodiak Chevrolet. And Rudd getting by the 16 car, Kevin LePage. Kyle made the pass, and Jeremy Mayfield, an unscheduled stop here on pit road, apparently a flat tire.
He was in 38th position when he came in, and it's his third stop so far today. So Jeremy not having a good day here at the Glen.
You don't see the leaders in sight, so he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap.
Jeremy spun during his qualifying run, and although he practiced well the next day, second round qualifying was rained out, and so he had to take the division. Borset
14:23.
with about a 3.2 second lead, and the road racing expert having his way at the moment is Jeff Gordon. Now comes to the inside of Johnny Benson, and Jeff moves to fifth.
And he's about 7 seconds behind Borset, but he knows that Borset is going to have to make a pit stop here before too long. We heard him on the radio during that caution flag, and his crew told him that, hey, if we get about 10 laps of green flag racing, then we'll come in and pit. Well, he's about 3 laps away from that now.
And Boris is the fastest car on the racetrack as that's David Green, who's showing some smoke, obviously trying to get back to the pit area, and that is Jeremy Mayfield, who of course made a pit stop just a few moments ago. Here comes Boris, the leader, last lap, 118.9 miles an hour, and with about a 3.5 second advantage on Kenny Wallace. Dollarback, Sadler, Gordon complete the top 5 with Benson, Rusty Wallace, Fellows, Bickle, and Nadeau the top 10. ESPN's live coverage of Frontier at the Glen, being brought to you by Pepsi, the choice of Frontier at the Glen. By Pennzoil, with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go Pennzoil. And by Chevy S10, like a rock. Third caution of the day waves over Watkins Glen International, and it has been brought out by a spin involving Jeff Burton up in turn 11.
He's coming in on some cars. There's Joe Nemechek in front, but nobody close to Jeff back there. And he gets away from that back end, spins around all the way around at almost a 360, but not quite. The right front gets into the styrofoam, but he drives away from there. Didn't look like a great deal of damage to his X-side Ford. I think he'll be able to continue, and of course he did stay on the lead lap, but being shown back in 37th position.
Down to Bill Weber.
Well, Jeff Burton told his crew we just got into that turn just too hot. So he does have damage to the right rear quarter. They're going to make they're going to change all 4 tires. They're going to have to pull some sheet metal away on the right-hand side. They come around to the right side, jack up the car. Obviously, they'll fill it full of fuel. They're going to beat out the sheet metal on the right-hand side, and then they're going to go ahead and send Burton back out. Now, Frankie Stoddard needs a hammer to try and beat out that sheet metal. Spotter is keeping them apprised of where the pace car is on the racetrack. He has a long way to go to get off the pit road when the leaders do come around. Frank asking where the pace car is at, telling him he's okay, that the pace car is in turn 6. Now they put the right front on, make sure all the lug nuts are tight, they clean the grill. Still keeping apprised of where the pace car is. They want to make sure they get everything done. Now they want to check the toe. They were going to check the toe, and they decided to send Burton on out.
So he will stay on the lead lap after his incident up in turn number 11. One of those styrofoam barriers that they have really save damage on cars, don't they?
Yes, they really do. That could have been disastrous for Jeff Burton, Burton, and he will be able to continue on now. Here's Borset, and this will allow him to make the pit stop that he was about to make anyway on this lap. He was going to stop on the 30th lap and get 4 tires and fuel, and now he's coming around under caution to be able to do that.
And of course, Kenny Wallace will also be able to stop under caution. So a couple of drivers get a break here, and we'll see how many other drivers choose to come in here on the 30th lap of the race.
Yeah, there probably were some drivers who were marginal as far as fuel was concerned when they stopped the last time on being able to make it on one more stop. We understand that Mark Martin might be one of those. We'll see if he does come in when they get to the
Okay, pits are open.
Now,
Don't pass that pace car. You got 4,500 first gear. Watch the pace car.
It's Borset's radio, of course, and he does come into the pits along with Kenny Wallace and Sadler.
Sadler gives up 4th position to come in. Here comes
Okay,
John
3,
Benson,
2,
John Kernan.
1.
Borset hits his pit. Crew goes to work on the left side. It'll be a 4-tire change. We don't anticipate any chassis adjustments. A little bit of problem with getting the first can of fuel to go in correctly. They've spilled quite a bit of fuel, but the first can goes in. They swing around to the right side. No adjustments on the car. Kenny Wallace's crew just now changing left side tires. Haven't seen any adjustments on that. Looks like a pretty decent stop. A little slow on that right rear. The Borset's down the way. Kenny Wallace is out.
Clear left,
They're changing
watch
left
your
side tires to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Mark Martin back on pit road. The reason being they could not make it on fuel. Now they can make it on one more stop. They make an air pressure change. See his entire crew wearing those helmets for safety, those Simpson helmets. So go back up pit road to Bill Weber.
Now they're going to check and make sure the toe on the 99 car is okay. This is what they talked about doing during the last stop. They're telling Jeff to turn the wheel to the right a little bit. Then they're going to top it off with fuel. Tony Stewart is on pit road. Let's check in with Jerry.
Making a wedge adjustment in the left rear for Tony Stewart, dialing the car a little bit, loosening it up, freeing it up in the corner. They get it full of fuel. Double lug nuts tight, and the Home Depot Pontiac is away.
This time without the gas can attached. That, of course, is what has put Tony Stewart back in the rear of the field because he didn't have to make a stop and go penalty. And up front, Wally Dallenbach, who stopped earlier, did not make a pit stop on this, the 3rd caution of the day. So it's Wally Dallenbach at the front of the field, and he becomes the 4th leader of the race so far. Back in just a moment. Once again, we're just about to go back to green here at the Frontier at the Glen at Watkins Glen International. 30 laps have been completed. They will get the green flag on lap number 32. 2nd place is Jeff Gordon. 3rd is Rusty Wallace. Now, we've seen some cars, especially Bobby Labonte, pit while the leaders are able to pit, and he's a lap down. Why is that?
Yeah, and fans who watch this Michigan Cup racing every week, they know that the lead lap cars can pit by themselves, and then the cars that are lap down has to wait a lap. NASCAR is allowing them to pit at the same time here. That saves going another full lap under caution, and really, that's green flag racing, more of it. And the green flag is out right now, and Wally Dallenbach leads them down into turn 1.
Wally Dallenbach leads Jeff Gordon and Dale Jarrett going to the inside of Rich Bickle.
Taking over the 5th position.
All clear, all clear.
This is only the 2nd race of 1999 that Wally Dallenbach has led. He led 5 laps at Talladega in April. There's Jarrett as he now sets his sights on Jerry Nadeau. Bill has a report on the 5 car.
Terry Labonte also stopped under the most recent caution, got 4 tires and returned to the track. His car is still a little bit tight, so they're going to have to keep an eye on that. They made a small adjustment to try and compensate for it.
Back in 33rd position is Terry Labonte as the field, as we see from the Pennzoil copter cam, moves through turn number 9 down the straightaway to turn 10. And Jeff Gordon will go to the inside of Wally Dallenbach and retake the lead. Jeff has led the most laps so far today. Looks like Rusty will be trying to get 2nd from Dallenbach in turn number 11.
That's a place you don't see a lot of passing on, but Rusty saw an opportunity there. Now he has the position going down into turn 1. That's the place to go. But here comes Nadeau. Hey, you don't want to do that, Jerry. No, he knew that wouldn't work 3 deep into that turn.
Rusty does get 2nd. Wally 3rd. Jerry Nadeau having a good run here this afternoon is running in the 4th position. Jeff has led 21 laps so far. Borset led 9. And the 61 car of David Murray is showing some smoke.
Yeah, something wrong very wrong with that car. Now the smoke really bellows out.
This is down in turn 2 now.
And hope he's not putting anything down on the racetrack. That would not be a good point of the racetrack. And it doesn't look like the cars are slipping and sliding behind him, so maybe he's not putting any fluids down.
Jeffrey Bodine, David Green, also Jeff Burton were behind him, but they're able to safely get around as Murray now heads for the inner loop.
Just he'll go straight on through there. Back to the lead.
Nadeau's taken third and Dallenbach.
He has.
And here is Joe Nemechek, who's doing good.
Well,
just as I say that,
a little too good. Went in there a little bit too hard. He does a great job of getting back out, loses several positions, but.
And speaking of positions, they're really changing in the Napa Field Summary point standings. And here comes Kenny Irwin to the inside of Rich Bickle and Jimmy Spencer. And again, we pointed out that Jimmy Spencer sat out this race last year. He started it, but he was suffering from injuries at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Boris Said is the driver who ran the race for Jimmy last year.
That 28 car there, Kenny Irwin, running in 6th place. Remember, he spun off the course a little bit earlier today.
Now up to 6th.
Yeah, doing a good job. Spencer, the 23 car, working on the 45 of Rich Bickle. Bickle having a great run here today. Currently being shown in 7th position.
We do have reports of oil on the track, we assume for the 61 car. We don't know at this point if it's enough to constitute an overall caution. NASCAR is assessing the situation at the moment. And look at this battle up front. Rusty tries to get to the inside of Gordon on the 11th corner.
And he does, and I'm sure that Gordon was very concerned about the oil that was out there, and so he was being very, very careful, and caution is out now as they come to the start-finish line. The leaders got the caution as they came across.
Caution's out. Keep going.
And Jerry Nadeau slipped in, I think, to 2nd position, passing Gordon. John Kernan?
Well, they've got the hood up on David Murray's car. I can see a puddle of liquid. It looks more like water that is dripping from the radiator or something. I can see there is a spot where he has made contact on the front nose with something that might have punctured the radiator, but there's also some oil underneath the car too, so the crew thinks it might be an oil line that worked its way loose. To Bill Weber.
Well, earlier in that incident on the track, John Andretti had a crush panel knocked out of his car, and it's allowing a tremendous amount of heat to flow into the cockpit of that car right by the gas pedal. So the team made basically a donut made of insulation and tape. They gave it to John during the last pit stop, and he slips it over the toe of his shoe to try and help insulate his foot from the heat he's getting. And another development just moments ago, Ward Burton just took his 22 car to the garage. He's had a gear shift problem throughout the race, but now they think it's transmission that has forced the Caterpillar Pontiac to the garage.
Ward already has 5 more top 10s than in all of 1998, coming off his 6th place finish at the Brickyard last week, but that car is behind the wall. And let's give a call to Ted Christopher, who's running in 19th position. What a day he had yesterday.
Yes, finished 2nd in the Busch North race, won the Featherlight Modified race here yesterday in the dark almost is when they got finished, and then running in 19th place. He might be setting some sort of a record here this weekend, running in 3 different types of racing on the same road course. Jerry?
Indeed, and it is a record for NASCAR, running in 3 different divisions on the same weekend. As you mentioned, what a great yesterday he had, great Saturday he had here with finishing 2nd in the Busch North race in a backup engine. His good motor he lost in qualifying, winning the NASCAR Featherlight Modified race and making his first ever Winston Cup start in a car they bought from Billy Hess, brand new. They rented an engine from Petty Enterprises, a Rick Mann motor. And interesting, Ted told me before the race, he has never been to road racing school, ever. He said, I learned to drive road courses by going go-kart racing when I was small, and I love it. He said, I would love to be able to finish in this race in the top 15, but and what a job he has done thus far. Let's check back in with John.
They're still trying to figure out the problem with David Murray's car, but the liquid that I saw at the bottom of it looked like water. When they pushed the car back a little bit, you could also see a little bit of oil mixed in with it. Now in the radiator, not only is the radiator there to cool the water, but also in that same area within the radiator is an oil cooler, and we showed you the hole in the front air dam of the car, so possibly something got through, punctured the radiator in the area where they also have the oil going through to cool, which is down in the bottom, I believe, and so that's maybe why we're getting the mix, because they They haven't found a loose oil line yet. They're still checking things over on the car, and we'll let you know when they find out exactly what's wrong with it.
Another car besides David Murray that had a problem on the track recently was the 22 of Ward Burton, and here he is smoking badly coming through turn 11.
Yes, smoke coming from, that almost looked like it's coming out the exhaust pipe. They said that he had a transmission problem. Of course, that could well be too. It's coming certainly from the underneath the car, and Ward had to take the Caterpillar Pontiac to the garage area.
Well, Ward told us yesterday that he had a great burden lifted off of his shoulders because Tommy Baldwin, his crew chief, who was rumored to possibly be going to other teams, has re-signed with that team. And the unit, the Bill Davis unit, stays together for the year 2000 and beyond. But we're seeing Jerry Nadeau giving up his second position to get in for a pit stop. He had just taken second from Jeff Gordon, Jerry.
And a lot of these guys very concerned about not being able to make it the rest of the way on one stop. In fact, Rusty Wallace is one of those. He'll have to pit on lap 51 or 52 and basically come back in again within 5 laps of the checkered flag. So there are still those staying out. Nadeau opting to come in the Cartoon Network car. Newtmore and the company changing all 4 tires. They will peel away the windshield, and they want to get it completely full of fuel and get it full of gas. A little bit of a problem with the right front tire, but he is down and away with Rich Bickle right behind him. Let's go to Bill Weber.
There, Jerry, go stop you.
Well, Terry Labonte has come back down pit road, and they're going to change the rear tires. First of all, I think what they're going to do is going to go underneath the car. They're going to jack up the rear end, and they're going to try and make a suspension change here because Terry's very disappointed in how tight this race car is. Now, this is going to take a little while. They've got jack stands here if they need them to put them underneath the car so the mechanic can work in the wheel well, but they are going to make a suspension adjustment. They could be bleeding the shocks underneath there. NASCAR official watching closely. They're asking him where it's tight. It's very bad on the left-handers, and they're curious if it's tight on the right-handers as well. But obviously this is going to take a while. Terry Labonte sits on pit road. Frustrating day so far for the Kellogg's crew.
He's never won here at Watkins Glen, but has finished second on 2 different occasions. Still under caution at Watkins Glen with 35 of 90 laps completed. Rusty Wallace leads.
And here's a sight you hate to see, the car being loaded up on the hauler before the end of the race. Ward, what happened?
It looks like we blew a motor. It looked like it's the bottom end, the crank or something, because it really let go in a hurry. But I got to commend all of the guys back in the shop that build these motors. It would have been a year next week since we've had a motor failure, and Terry Ellard and all the guys back in the motor shop with that Caterpillar Pontiac just really worked the tails off, and they've got great motors, great horsepower. This stuff just happens sometimes, but they'll get back to the shop and figure out what it was.
First motor failure in about a year, and like Benny Parsons says, the law of averages often catches up with you.
Ward Burton 11th in the point standings coming in, knocking on the door for the top 10, so it's definitely going to hurt him in that respect. Well, Tony Stewart, remember a few laps ago, there is the gas can. Tony Stewart left pit road with the second gas can attached. Now, as he came onto the track, he shook it loose. And then just a few minutes after that, we saw some fuel escaping.
A lot of fuel escaping. That's something you don't want to see. And see that guy back here? He's working on that, trying to get that connector a little bit better the next time so he can get that gas can loose. Because you don't want to lose that fuel, and certainly he was penalized too, had to do a stop and go to come back into the pits. Jerry?
And Ned, that being a closed system, what happened was when the gas can was stuck in the outside of the car, the dry brake, which is a spring-loaded lever that actually seals the system, that spring was cocked open. That allowed air to flow through the system and allowed gas to actually come out there as well as the overflow. Now, once the system is closed, gas cannot come out because there's a valve in the back in the overflow. That's what they came back in, and the gas man there was taking a look at. Jeff Patterson was trying to make sure that the dry brake would actually clamp all the way shut and seal it so the gas would stay in. That's what he was doing in the back of the car on that follow-up stop.
Pennzoil Copter Cam is following Tony Stewart, who is back in the, where is he? 26th position at the moment. His average finish the last 7 races, 8th. Pretty good crowd on hand here at Watkins Glen today, despite the bad weather that we have had all weekend long. But the forecast was for good weather today, and indeed that's what we have. And there you can see on the lower right portion of your screen the boot area that Ned talked about a little bit earlier that they do not use here at Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Winston Cup races. That was part of the old Formula One course that, of course, was used for many years here. 5 drivers who have had great runs here at the Glen. Let's compare them. Mark Martin, 11 races, 3 wins, average finish of 5th. Jeff Gordon has 2 wins, average finish 8.2. And back there to Rusty Wallace, who has 2 victories at this facility, but whose average finish is 12th. All right, we get set to go back to green. As you can see, the lights atop the pace truck are no longer flashing. And so on lap number 38, we'll get the green, Doc.
Guys, Rusty Wallace pitted on lap 20. They can only go 32 laps on fuel, which means he comes in on lap 52. 32 more to that puts him in at lap 84, which is 6 laps shy of the finish. He still has to make 2 pit stops. Why didn't they pit just now? Robin Pemberton said we could not afford to give up all that track position here as the green was coming back out.
Rusty Wallace celebrated his 43rd birthday yesterday. Robin Pemberton celebrating his 43rd birthday today. And Rusty has the lead in turn number 1. Wally Dallenbach and Jeff Gordon are side by side through the corner. And here comes Dale Jarrett.
Well, it was all over Jeff Gordon there on the restart. DJ tries to make a pass there, but couldn't quite do it.
Kenny Irwin is up into 4th position. On board with Jarrett.
Now remember, he has fresher tires than does Wally Dallenbach. And here is the 28 of Kenny Irwin trying to get in the picture.
It was made
Clear.
It was made official this weekend that Kenny Irwin would not return with the Robert Yates number 28 car in in the year 2000. Now we are on board again with Jarrett looking back on Irwin.
Jarrett's 4th and Irwin 5th. Irwin has not had a top 5 finish since finishing 3rd in the Daytona 500. I think that's right.
And Jeff Gordon challenges Rusty Wallace for the lead once again. Because of the cautions that we have had, several drivers are off sequence as far as pit stops are concerned. Boris said has led 9 laps in this race. He's back in 15th, but we will be seeing him move up as other cars make pit stops.
Yeah, you see that on road courses. They get off sequence. Some can get better fuel mileage than others, and some just have different strategy than others. But he went far enough that he could make it on 1 more pit stop, and he's moving in on Mike Skinner there. Wanted to take over the 13th position, but he couldn't quite make that pass.
Kenny Irwin had a 10th place finish at Dover, Ned. Did have a good run last week at Indianapolis, finishing 13th, but he has a really good run going here today. There's Jimmy Spencer, who's not doing bad and who had a good run at Sears Point. Ron Fellows is just a couple of cars behind Boris said. The other drivers making their first start here in the NASCAR Winston Cup competition. There's Ron.
Great road racer. Pointed out at the top of the show, has good experience here at the Glen in bush race and truck race. Gordon trying everything he knows to try to get by Rusty Wallace.
Rusty has only won 1 time in 1999. Started from the pole, led the most laps, and won at Bristol. And now here at Watkins Glen, he set a new track record in capturing his 2nd pole of the year.
We're going back to Bristol in a couple of weeks, Michigan next week, and then Bristol the following week.
On Saturday night. Yep. Oh, look at Jeff close in.
He's working on him. He can be an intimidator when he wants to be. He's got a fast race car. But intimidating Rusty Wallace on the road course might be a little harder to do than it might be to some other drivers on other types of racetracks.
More trouble for Tony Stewart. He misses the inner loop, and
okay, as long as he slows down and lets the cars go by that he passed and gets back in his position, that's okay. And it looks like he did that.
As long as you don't gain any significant advantage by missing the inner loop, then they will not penalize you. Now, Stewart started second at Sears Point, finished in 15th position in his first run on a road course since he ran go-karts in the early stages of his race driving career. So this is his first competition here at the Glen.
Had great qualifying runs at both. As we see Terry Labonte making a pass on Michael Waltrip, but he qualified on the outside pole at Sears Point. Tony Stewart did, and then fourth here.
He's back in 36th position. The last car on the lead lap. We have 4 cars that are not on the lead lap at the moment, and the 61 car of Murray off the track, and the 22 of Ward Burton, the only one officially listed as out of the race. The 11 car of Brett Bodine is down 24 laps and shown in 43rd position, but he still is on the racetrack. The NASCAR Frontier at the Glen continues in a moment. ESPN welcomes you back to our live coverage of the Frontier at the Glen. On board with Rusty Wallace. Up ahead, Jeff Gordon's in the lead. And when you talk about consecutive road course wins in NASCAR Winston Cup competition, Jeff Gordon is indeed the king of the road. 4 straight. Gurney, Pearson, Richmond, and Wallace won 3 straight, but Gordon is going for his 5th in a row here today. And he has indeed gotten the lead from Rusty Wallace. Did it just a few moments ago. And this is how he did it. Like it was coming out of turn 1.
Turn 1, got down on the inside, heads up through the S's, made the pass, and away he went.
Wide as Gordon stretches the advantage a little bit over Rusty Wallace. Jeff has led 23 laps so far. Rusty has led 9. So has Boris said. Wally Dallenbach was at the front of the field on 2 laps. Here's the lowest field summary. Ford leading the manufacturers' points battle. And the best running Ford at the moment, Rusty Wallace. Gordon, of course, leads the Chevrolet contingent. As far as the Pontiacs are concerned, Kyle Petty is running back in 13th. Is the best among them. We're nearing the halfway point. When they come down next time, they'll complete lap number 44. This is a 90-lap race. Back there in 3rd position is Wally Dallenbach, with Dale Jarrett right behind him, and then Jimmy Spencer has passed Kenny Irwin recently. You see that, and Sterling Marlin is off course.
Yeah, he's got a lot of damage to the right side of that car. You see him spinning those wheels?
Yeah.
Boy, that no avail, because he's just making the matters worse trying to do that. But it's a natural thing to do, to hope that you can pull out of there if you can't do it.
He was in 16th position when he went into the sand trap, and I'm sure this is going to cause an overall caution here, because they're going to have to get that car out of the sand trap. And once again, it is in the
got tapped from behind. You understand it's a 97 car, and around he goes out and into the sand. And there's not as good a runoff place there as there is, say, in turn 1 for you to keep the car going, because you're spinning around, and you're not going in a forward motion there, so you can keep it going in that sand. When you get in there, you're just going to get stuck.
Pennzoil copter cam shows us where he is in relation to the racetrack, and indeed the caution is coming out. The leaders have not taken the caution, but other members of the field have. Here comes Jeff and Rusty, headed for turn number 11, and they will now take the caution flag.
Yeah, they're not racing each other back to the flag now. They saw the caution lights around the track.
Morissette has moved back up into 7th position, and Ron Fellows is 10th. But Jeff Gordon is the leader of the Frontier at the Glen, and we'll be right back. He has been rescued from the sand trap. There's Sterling Marlin as he's been pulled out from the area up there near the inner loop. He did, however, lose a lap, and so he will go back to the 38th position.
Yeah, that's the bad.
All right, we're going to come in and put 4 tires on it.
Ernie Urban making
and
a
work
stop.
on it some, Sterling. So when if they drop the jack, don't leave
down to John Kernan.
Earlier, Ernie also visited the sand trap or the gravel pits, whatever you want to call it. And on his pit stop now, we've seen like oil leak out of cars up pit road. We've seen water leak out of cars, brake fluid, other things leaking out of cars. Well, Ernie's car on pit road was leaking gravel out of the bell housing. So that's a new one.
Yeah, he was pretty deep in there, so I guess it picked up some there.
There are a lot of sad and scary faces around Watkins Glen, including the M&M.
Not that other guy.
Right. So Ernie will catch up with the field here as we have reached the halfway point of this event. 45 laps have been completed, and we see Sterling has also caught up to the rear of the field. The 61 car of David Murray is back on the track.
Okay, we see the leaders coming off of turn 11, and very few of them making a pit stop. Bobby Hamilton is coming down pit road, but this doesn't surprise me, Bob. Bobby Hamilton was running in 10th position, but if there was a marginal situation as far as fuel is concerned on this front runners, they were going to have to make 35 laps apiece. These caution laps are helping them to save that fuel, so they shouldn't have any problem in going on one more stop, right, Jerry?
Well, the big concern exactly, Ned, was that just that here in Rusty Wallace's pit. I mentioned he can only go 32 laps, maybe 33 on fuel. He pitted on lap 20. They were planning on a green flag stop on lap 52. So this caution is really, really helping the 2 crew because what Robert Pemberton told Rusty, be very easy on that throttle. We got to save gas. I'm going to try to stretch the fuel mileage. If they can get to lap 56, 57, when the 24 car is going to pit, they can probably make that their final pit stop. Meanwhile, down on our end of the pit road, the Home Depot car of Tony Stewart back in again for a pit stop as we check in with Bill Weber.
And John Andretti is back on pit road. He's already got left side tires. They swing around to put right side tires in. They've made a chassis adjustment. They're going to top him off with fuel, but they're also trying to make him improve the insulation on his left foot. They're also trying to basically patch some of the holes that are allowing the fumes and the well-heated air into the cockpit, into the driver's area that's driving him crazy, basically overheating his right foot. So now they're also going to check the toe on the right side, working with John to get the tires straight. One man leaning into the window. They had John pull the pin out of the net so they could drop the net as soon as they got here. So basically they're working to make the car better and the driver a little more comfortable. They did ask Ward Burton to hang around in his motor coach until the end of the race in case for some reason John would have to give up the seat.
John has had good runs on road courses recently. He finished 3rd at Sears Point early this year and finished 8th in this event in 1998. Back with more Frontier at the Glen in a moment. Back at Watkins Glen International on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, albeit cool and a little bit windy. We're at the Frontier at the Glen, and the green flag comes out to restart this race on the 48th lap. We ran 2 laps under caution. Jeff Gordon is the leader of the race, followed by Rusty Wallace, Wally Dallenbach, Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Spencer, Joe Nemechek, Boris Said, and others.
See Kenny Irwin back in the 28 car losing a couple of more positions back there. He ran 5th for a long time. Then Jimmy Spencer got by him, then several other drivers. So he dropped back now to the 9th position.
There's Tony Stewart, who made another pit stop. Jerry?
Bobby took a rubber out of both front springs, a rubber insert out of both front springs. The car just absolutely too tight getting in through the middle of the corner, so they made that adjustment. That's why the length stopped just a moment ago.
All right, and he is now back to the 34th spot, working his way up through the field once again. There is Boris Said and Ron Fellows running together now behind Joe Nemechek.
Jimmy Spencer all over Dale Jarrett. Jarrett running in 4th place, Spencer running in 5th.
How about that Jimmy Spencer? Started 5th, finished 5th at the Glen, and he's running 5th here again.
He has become
quite the road racer.
Road racer, yes, sir. There goes Boris Said, taking a position away from Nemechek.
Yep. Nemechek having a good run. Nemechek is in 7th position. Boris has moved to 6th. And Boris said slowing down.
We have a report that maybe he is slowing down.
Man.
Yeah, cars going by.
You got no gears at all? Just a wicked vibration. I'm running. All the engine vitals are normal.
So it sounds like a transmission problem.
Wow.
Okay, just pull it in behind the wall there. That's before you get to our pit stalls, right after the Kodak opening.
Oh, and he had a great run going here today. That's
He
too
sure
bad.
did. Veteran of the Trans Am Series, also a veteran of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, where he has competed 59 times with 1 win here at Sears Point and 2 poles on road courses at Topeka and Portland. Qualified second here for the Frontier at the Glen, but apparently a transmission problem has ended his day. So back up front, we have Jeff Gordon leading Rusty Wallace by about 3/4 of a second, then about 2 seconds back to Wally Dallenbach. Dallenbach, of course, knows at the moment that he will not be back with the Rick Hendrick team in the year 2000. Jerry Nadeau will drive the 25 car beginning next year. On board with the tied car of Ricky Rudd, who is in 11th spot.
And he's chasing the 31, the Lowe's car of Mike Skinner. Trying to make a pass on him.
There's Mark Martin right behind.
Well, Mark Martin had made a pit stop. He couldn't go on one more pit stop. He pitted the first time when the other leaders did. He was running in the top 5, and then he made that pit stop. So he's been back in the field, but has worked his way back up now to 12th place. And of course, he will have to make another pit stop, but he can go a little bit farther than those up front.
Jerry Nadeau right here.
And Mark didn't fight him. He said, okay, if you want that position, go ahead.
By the way, Boris said did make it behind the wall. On board, the Jimmy Dean Sausage onboard camera, which is being carried by Kyle Petty here this afternoon. Kyle is back in 14th position. He had an unfortunate situation yesterday or the day before when his vacation home was damaged by fire.
Like it was burned down. We're sorry to hear that, but happy that no one was there, so there were no injuries as far as that's concerned in the mass fire near Charleston, South Carolina.
Up through the S's, a good battle between Mike Skinner and Ricky Rudd.
Those guys are really going at it.
And Jerry Nadeau and Mark Martin and Kyle Petty.
Yeah.
Oh, Nadeau to the inside of Rudd, picking up the position.
Well, he puts a lot of trust in those brakes. He don't mind driving it down into those corners.
I talked to Jerry Nadeau yesterday, and he said he's one of those who really like these concrete patches that they're running over right now that have been installed in several of the corners here.
With Mark Martin here. Valve leaned forward. Now Nadeau took a look on the inside of Mike Skinner, but no room there at that point of the racetrack.
Down the long front straightaway here.
While we're watching this action, Ron Fellows has passed Dale Jarrett for the 4th place.
And John Kernan is with Boris Said.
Boris in the garage area, the crew checking out the car. Boris, what's wrong?
I don't know. I'm not much of a mechanic, but I mean, you know, this team, I can't say enough about it. I mean, we got 11 full-time people at Urban Civil Racing. They built and designed this car. We built our own motors with signature engines, and unfortunately, we have something in the drivetrain that caused a real bad vibration. And it's too bad. I mean, we got a great sponsor, Federal Auto Parts, and you know, we were in contention today, and we got the lead 5, got our 5 bonus points for the championship, so that was fun to lead a little bit. And I mean, I just can't thank Ford enough for all their support. It's my wife's birthday today, so I thought I was going to give her a happy birthday. Sorry, Karen, but it was still a good run for us. Got a lot of experience and had a lot of fun. Just, I think our day's cut short. It's too bad.
Well, he did get the 5 bonus points, but I think he needs another season or so to catch Dale Jarrett in the points.
And Boris did lead 9 laps, so a good run for Boris overall. You see Ricky Rudd in the mix of this battle here for position. Rudd coming off his first top 10 of 1999 at the Brickyard last week, finishing in 9th position. He's also changed engine builders, now getting his motors from Pro Motors, but here, as we see them going down into corner number 1, Mark Martin passes Ricky Rudd, and so move Martin up to the 12th position.
And Jerry Nadeau made the pass around Kenny Irwin. And you mentioned a moment ago that Ron Fellows had passed Dale Jarrett. He now has passed Wally Dallenbach and has moved into third. So for you Ron Fellows fans, he is on the move. He's about almost 5 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon.
Gordon continuing to set the pace as we watch this battle back here for position. You see some of the cars flying over those rumble strips, getting a little bit airborne as they do.
Yeah, this is much better racing going on back here than there is up front.
Indeed, because Jeff is now almost a full second ahead of Rusty Wallace. And last time around, Jeff was the fastest car on the racetrack at 119.5 compared to Rusty Wallace's 119.4. And Wally Dallenbach, we see him coming off of corner number 11 and ducking toward the pits.
I'd say this is a scheduled pit stop, right, John?
That's exactly right. They're getting right around 37, 38 laps. Telling them to get on in the pits, get on in the pits. This will be their last pit stop. They hand some cold towels and a drink to Wally. No changes that we can see right now. Take off one of the tearaways to clean the windshield. It'll be 4 tires and full of fuel. Dallenbach should be able to go the distance from here.
Some very interesting strategy being played out here that could result in, well, who knows? Wally Dallenbach's 18.9 second pit stop on lap number 54 could be his last.
He's going to have to stretch it a little bit further than most of the others, but he is one of those drivers that stopped on lap 14, expecting to make it on one more pit stop. Now, most of the others stopped on lap 20, and they can run a few more laps yet before they would need to come in. In fact, they'd like to go to lap 58 or somewhere in that neighborhood, 56 to 58.
We also see Dale Jarrett making a pit stop.
Well, this is a little earlier than I thought he would come in. He was one of those that stopped on lap 20, but maybe they figure they can go the rest of the way, John.
That's the plan there, to go the rest of the way. It'll be a 4-tire change. They will make a chassis adjustment in the right rear of the car. Also pull out that left front fender just a little bit around the top part of it. Rights are already changed. Now they're going to clean the windshield. Left's going on.
Tire, Jason. Get that tire, Jason.
Tight now. They're making the adjustment down the way to Bill Weber.
Mike Skinner is on pit road. Remember the great run he had here last year with a fuel mileage attempt. Ended up finishing third. They've already got the left side tires on. Come around to the right side. Going to get every ounce of fuel they can in this car. They've already warned Skinner about being cautious when he leaves pit road. Mike's on his way. He'll go past his teammate. Earnhardt is getting right side tires. Fuel going in. The car down. Briefly stalls. Earnhardt recaptures and continues.
Moving slowly now, accelerating as he moves back out onto the racetrack, and Rusty Wallace gives up his second position to make a pit stop on lap number 56. Doc, he's headed toward you.
Bob, 35 miles an hour. They plan on making a quarter-round adjustment in the track bar. Rusty said it would help him get into the inner loop and into turn 1. Today is Robin Pemberton's 43rd birthday. He is really gambling right now. He would love to be able to get a little bit of gas as a birthday present. They can only go between 32 and 34 laps. As they pit now, they may be a lap shy, but they're going to gamble from what I hear them saying on the radio. Right? Left side tires going on. There's the track bar adjustment in the left rear of the crew. Scampering to the right side. Billy Welburn pulls the right front tire off. They clean the windshield. They have told Rusty, careful on the throttle. Careful. Rusty is down and away.
18.4 second pit stop for Rusty Wallace, and he moves back into competition. Kenny Irwin has come in. He was running up in the top 10, but makes another pit stop. Here comes Kyle Petty down pit road. Steve Park also coming back out onto the racetrack. We see Darrell Waltrip coming back out onto the track. He and Stevie are celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary today. Congratulations. So are Billy and Martha Clark. And here comes Jeff Gordon down pit road. Jerry Punch once again. Jeff is headed toward your way.
Ray Evernham telling him 4,000 RPMs. That's 35 miles per hour. 4 tires, 2 cans of gas, no adjustments. Now they can go 34 laps to 35 laps on fuel. They should be okay to make it the rest of the way, as we have just that amount to lap 90 for the checkered flag. routine pit stop now. No adjustments, no air pressure adjustments, no wedge, no track bar. Very routine stop for the Rainbow Warriors. Now right side tires going on. They get it completely full of fuel, and Gordon easy on the front. Let's go up to Bill Weber.
This has been a good day for Joe Nemechek. His car's a little tight. They made an air pressure adjustment in both the front tires. A half-pound out. Nemechek's on his way.
Bill Elliott completing his
Go,
look.
you can.
And
Go,
coming
go,
out,
go.
here comes Jimmy Spencer back out onto the racetrack. So a flurry of activity here on the 55, 56, 57th laps.
Now, there are a number of cars, including Mark Martin, that stopped at another caution flag, so he should be able to go a few more laps yet before he'll have to come in. In fact, he would need to go past the 60-lap mark before he would be able to go the rest of the way.
And there is the leader of the race, Ron Fellows, with Jerry Nadeau now running in second position. We'll take a break and be back with more live coverage in a moment from the Glen. ESPN welcomes you back to live coverage of the Frontier at the Glen, and more auto racing coming up for you next from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, the Kart FedEx Championship Series in the Miller Lite 300. Dario Franchitti on the pole for that race, so stay with us for more auto racing coverage. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. For the first time in his Winston Cup career, Jerry Nadeau is leading. Ron Fellows was leading. He has made a pit stop, but Jerry Nadeau remains on the racetrack. Now we go to Bill Weber with an update on the 87 car of Fellows.
Well, Bob, just an impressive run, and apparently, according to the crew, Ron Fellows said don't change a thing. He's happy with the handle of the car. They can reach the end. He's got 4 tires and enough fuel, so just waiting for Nadeau to come in and see what happens to him. But it's been a good run for Fellows. We'll see how he finishes. Let's check in with Jerry Punch.
1 lap ago, Mark Martin on pit road. Jimmy Phoenix said we're going to go up on air pressure on all 4 tires. Routine pit stop. They got it full of fuel, and according to car owner Jack Roush, who figures the gas, they should be okay to go to lap 90. John Kernan.
Jimmy Spencer was in, the new road course king, I guess we could call him. But Jimmy came in, took on 4 tires, no adjustments to the car. They can go the rest of the way. And Kenny Wallace is coming down pit road now for his final pit stop. Pulls into the stall. The crew, remember, they do the right side tires first, just so as to not to break up their sequence of a regular pit stop. So they'll do right tires, then they'll go around to the left side. Right side work is done, no adjustments just yet. Car getting full of fuel. Kenny sitting there patiently waiting. Lefts are on. They pull a piece of, it's like a piece of tape or something off the side of the car and throw it over the pit wall, but Kenny guns the engine, and he is down and away. He is good to go the rest of this race.
He was running in 8th position when he came into the pits.
Slowly down at 35 miles an hour until he reaches the pit out marker and then can accelerate. There it is, and Kenny accelerates, goes back out onto the racetrack. Here, meanwhile, comes the leader of the race, Jerry Nadeau, who we said earlier will go to the 25 car, now being driven by Wally Dallenbach.
2 tires and little fuel when we come in.
Now, it is interesting that we heard during the commercial break his crew tell him.
You're as fast as the leaders right now.
That's what I was going to point out. He is indeed running 118.9, and that's about as fast as we've seen anybody running. He's on old tires.
Yes, that's very impressive. And they talk about just putting on 2 tires when he does make his pit stop. And his future teammate,
Terry Labonte, is in. Labonte gives up his 3rd position down to the pits.
And Terry Labonte's going to get 4 tires, and he'll have enough fuel to reach the finish. Been a frustrating day for this team. Last time they were on pit road, they went underneath the car, made a major sway bar adjustment by taking off the rear tires and bolting the old tires back on. Now he's got 4 tires, 18.9 seconds. Terry Labonte returns to the fray.
of course, when I say future teammate, though, Jerry Nadeau will be joining Hendrick Motorsports next year, along with Terry Labonte and Jeff Gordon.
And Terry comes out just ahead of Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt running back in the 21st position. Jeff Burton running in 22nd.
Both the 3 and 99 cars have spun earlier today, but still out there running on the lead lap.
33 cars on the lead lap, and Rich Bickle just spun.
Oh, that's too bad. He was running in 5th place.
Wow. Tyler Jet Motorsports. By the way, they have signed a sprint car driver for their Busch Series ride next year, Tyler Walker, as they expand their motorsports involvement. Let's take a look at Rich Bickle's spin. Again, this is in turn number 10, exiting turn number 10, running by himself.
All by himself. He makes a 360 there. Let's see if he gets her straightened back out. Yeah, hey, that's good. He only lost one position. Rusty Wallace got by him, so he's still in 6th place.
Good job by Rich Bickle as he stays out on the racetrack, and we get more from John Kernan.
The news for Rich Bickle is he's within 3 laps of making it to the end of the race. So the crew is trying to tell him now to just calm down, shake that spin off, just concentrate on what you're doing. Maybe we'll get a caution to help us out in our fuel situation, but as it stands right now, Bickle is 3 laps short of making the rest of the distance of this race.
There's some damage on the front end of the car.
And he's losing positions as well. He has dropped back now to the 11th position. Ernie Irvin, for you Ernie Irvin fans, he's back on pit road with the car jacked up and the hood up, and he's gone 2 laps down, now about to go 3 laps down.
Well, Jerry Nadeau is building up quite an advantage. Now there's the 75 car of Ted Musgrave, who is a lap down. The interval between Jerry Nadeau and the 2nd place car, which at the moment is Bobby Hamilton, is more than 19¼ seconds. Jerry Nadeau leading a NASCAR Winston Cup race for the first time in his career in his 56th race. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Bill Weber, Jerry Punch back at the frontier of the Glen NASCAR Winston Cup race. There is Jerry Nadeau, the leader of the race. Let's check out the Bud race recap. Jerry has led 7 of the 65 laps that have been completed. We've had 8 lead changes, 5 caution periods, totaling 11 laps, and an average speed of 87.681 miles an hour.
And Bob, he has run 31 laps since he made his pit stop. As Jeff Gordon, you see the number of laps that he has led, so he's got to come in here before too long. Boy, he's smoking that right front tire.
He did the last lap, so he's still giving it all he's got.
Yeah, he sure is.
He should be coming in, we hear, next lap.
Time by.
There you go.
And that would be good strategy, Bob, because he doesn't want to catch the slow traffic in front of him and have this traffic hold him up.
Well, I'll be darned. Is that a familiar voice, folks?
How did he know that 500 miles away?
Hi, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benny Parsons. We mentioned earlier that he had some eye surgery a couple of days ago. How you feeling, first of all? You okay?
Well, I think so. I feel a little rough right now, but I'm watching a great race, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
There you go. We miss you and hope to see you back at Michigan next weekend. So what's your assessment of what's going on here?
Well, I mean, Jerry Nadeau right now is probably going to change 2 tires and maybe 1 can. Can he make it on 1 more can of fuel, or does he have to put 2? If he has to put 2 cans of fuel in, that would certainly hurt, because he'll have to spend a lot of time on pit road, and he'll be losing several positions. But if he can get by on 1 can and just 2 tires, he may get back out in the top 5 if he doesn't run off the dirt first.
Yeah, he's testing it. He's not backing off for a moment.
Now let's see. He's going to come in. Here he comes.
Now here he comes.
Bill Weber, we're going to
First gear, 3,400 all the way down.
as he comes down.
Don't go until I tell you to go now, Jerry. This is very important. 2 tires, left side. 1.5 of gas. Hit your spot now. Straight in.
Benny, they were hoping to do it on 1 can. Now they're going to need a 1.5 cans. They said they're as fast on old tires, almost as fast as the leaders were with 4. So they're going to go on 2. They did count Nadeau down to the number of laps until he was going to pit, so he did abuse his tires up until the point he came down pit road. Now he's clear to go. They got the 1.5 cans in, left side tires on. Remember how confident he was after his qualifying lap on Friday. Now he's going to have to make up some time on the racetrack.
He's going to drop back to somewhere around 10th or 11th, it looks like.
Maybe not quite that far back. No, he's out in front of Ron Fellows, who is running in 6th position. So that was a great stop. He's got those 2 fresh tires, enough fuel to go the rest of the way. Now, Fellows has been fast all day. Let's see. This will be a good race between that Ford and Chevrolet.
Pat Jarrett back there in the background, running in the 7th spot.
And I really wonder if he has enough fuel to make it. He was one of those that stopped a little bit earlier, certainly, than Rusty Wallace. And he stopped 1 lap earlier than Rusty Wallace and a couple of laps earlier than did Jeff Gordon.
At the moment, it's Bobby Hamilton who is leading this race, with Michael Waltrip running second, about 20 seconds behind. And then, oh, here's Rich Bickle, who was in the 8th spot. He's in the trap, and this is going to bring out a full course caution.
What a tough break for Jerry Nadeau. Now, if he had just changed 4 tires, he'd be in good shape.
Yeah, he would, Benny, but if that caution had come out while he was still out there, though, he would have went to the back of the pack. See, he beat a lot of those cars that would have passed him on pit road had he been on the, made a caution flag pit stop. So really, I think that it worked out the best for him.
Caution is waving once again. And there is the leader, the 4 car of Bobby Hamilton. The caution comes out on lap number 69. There's Bobby Labonte, who's just ahead, who is a lap down, or now at the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, he's going to get back on the lead lap here, it looks like.
There are 34 cars on the lead lap. I'm not sure that Hamilton has taken the caution, has he?
I don't think he has, and as a result, these drivers can pass him. Jeff Bodine and Bobby Labonte can race back to the line, and Bobby Hamilton is not going to race them back to the line.
Now, Jeffrey was 2 laps down, but now he is 1 lap down since he did go around Hamilton, and he takes the caution, so that is the situation here on lap number 70. Benny, we all wish you the best, and we'll be back with him and everybody else in just a moment. ESPN's coverage of the Frontier at the Glen is being brought to you by WD-40, the can with 1,000 uses, just enough to get you through the weekend. By Jimmy Dean, America's favorite sausage and sponsor of the number 30 Jimmy Dean Pontiac. And by Miller Lite, a true taste, a true Pilsner. Under caution, here's John Kernan.
Bobby Hamilton will be pitting the next time by. They'll put on 4 tires, put in the fuel into the car. The one problem with this car, it is running just a little bit hot on the water temperature, so they're going to try and cool that down. Also, one of the fenders is kind of pushed in a little bit. They're going to try and fix that out, but other than that, it'll be a normal pit stop for Bobby Hamilton, 4 tires and fuel.
Then we talked about Jerry Nadeau, just thinking Bobby Hamilton had stopped a lap before the caution flag. How much better he'd be off than he is going to be right now.
Yes, he would be a lot better off, Benny, but now he's going to have to go to the back of the pack. Bill Weber.
And it's the same situation, you guys, for Michael Waltrip. He was really hoping, A, to stay out long enough to lead a lap and then be able to pit under the green, so they're very distressed that the caution came out. Also, about 20 laps ago, Michael did a little off-road racing. Thinks he might have knocked the rear bar off the car. It's been very tight ever since. They're going to take a look at that. But they're disappointed not only with the caution, but now with the condition of the car. Jerry?
And Jeff Gordon pitted at lap 56. Their calculations said they can go 34 laps. If you do the math, that means they can make it all the way to lap 90, but they were very, very close. Now, Rusty Wallace, who pitted on lap 55, they did the calculations. Tom Hoke did the calculations over and over again and told Robin Pemberton, we are 1 lap shy of the checkered flag. We need caution for 2 laps. Guess what? Caution just came out. They've been celebrating ever since. They still tell Rusty it's going to be very, very close, so be careful with the throttle. Back to John Kernan.
Bobby Hamilton is here. You can see they're taking some tape off of the grill, where the grill has been pushed in. That interrupts the airflow into the radiator, which is why his car has been running just a little bit hot. So the tires are going on, no adjustments. He is down and away. To Bill Weber.
Well, Michael Waltrip's on pit road. I wish you could have heard the disappointment in his voice when he was talking to his crew. He's already got left side tires, right side's going on, fuel's in. Michael's away. He's going to have to watch out for Sterling. They can head down pit road.
Sterling Marlin also pulling away. Kenny Irwin makes a pit stop. So does John Andretti. On board with Sterling as he begins to accelerate now. And being stopped, but now being allowed to go.
And he did get those 5 bonus points because Bobby Hamilton stopped short of his pit position is short of the start finish line, and Michael Waltrip did lead that lap, even though he's on pit road.
20 laps to go in the Frontier at the Glen. 70 complete. sun-drenched crowd today after a couple of days of bad weather. Back in a moment. Welcome back to Watkins Glen International as we are under caution at the Frontier at the Glen. This is the silly season. A lot of changes are being made. A lot of driver announcements already have been made, and so you can keep up with everything that's going on in NASCAR, not only in Winston Cup, but their other divisions on their official website, www.nascar.com, NASCAR Online. Dale Earnhardt is in his 600th consecutive NASCAR Winston Cup event. The streak started at Richmond in September of 1979, and there you can see how that has come about. His 100th start came at Riverside. About every 3 or 4 years he adds another 100, and today 600 straight, and he is currently 22nd here at the Glen. Well, BP, we're going green here, and we've got 71 laps in the books, and Jeff Gordon at the front of the field.
Rusty Wallace looked like Rusty struggled a little bit at the very start of this race, but it looks like now that they've made some adjustments to the car, and it looks like he's pretty doggone good. Now, can he keep up with Jeff Gordon? Interesting to see in the next few laps.
Ron Fellows and Jerry Nadeau will fall in 3rd and 4th behind Rusty, and Dale Jarrett losing a couple of positions here.
No, DJ had gotten up beside him, Jerry Nadeau, trying to take the position, but it didn't quite work.
And the 10 and the 23 real close to having a collision. Rudd and Spencer on board with Bill Elliott.
One thing you have to be very careful about is not when you touch somebody, not knock a finger in on a tire. 19 laps to go, the 18 when they come back.
That's a good point, Ned, because a fender knocked in on a tire could be disastrous to Dale Jarrett right now, because, and you'll see a battle for second spot as Fellows goes by Rusty Wallace into second place.
Is that guy good or what on the road course?
He is unbelievable, especially at Watkins Glen.
The Canadian driver showing how it's done here this afternoon on a road course, up to second. Jeff Gordon has claimed the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. He has now led 37 of the 72. Other leaders, Rusty Wallace 9 laps, Nadeau 9, Said 9. Fellows has led 3, Dallenbach 2, Hamilton 2, and Michael Waltrip has led 1 lap.
I was talking about that fender on the tire. An unscheduled pit stop right now could be disastrous, because how many cars on the lead lap now?
34.
Yep.
Wow.
That's exactly right. That's what Ned and I talked about in our open. If you have trouble even on the last lap, you're running in the top 5, you have trouble on the last lap, boy, you can lose a lot.
And that's crucial for all of those who are battling for the points.
Especially Dale Jarrett trying to stay in the points lead. Currently in 5th spot, about 2 seconds behind Jeff Gordon. Now behind the 88, how about Tony Stewart, who has had one problem after another, had numerous visits to pit road, including a penalty as assessed to him because he carried his gas can off pit road, but he is up to 6th spot.
Yeah, I thought he would have to make a pit stop on that last caution ball, but he didn't, and apparently he's okay to go the rest of the way. He had stopped on lap 56, so yeah, I didn't realize that, so he's in good shape. Here comes Ricky Rudd trying to pass Mark Martin, taking over the 9th position, moving Mark back to 10th, and here comes Jimmy Spencer down on the inside of Mark. Mark, of course, in 2nd place in the NASCAR Winston Cup point standing, so that was 8 points he lost right there when those 2 drivers went by.
Who was fastest last lap, guys? Was it Jeff Gordon or Ron Fellows?
Ron Fellows. No, it was Jeff Gordon. I beg your pardon.
No, it was Fellows.
Yeah, that's right, it was. Yeah, he was 119.8, Benny, and Jeff Gordon's 119.2.
Wow, more from Bill Weber.
And they're calling out lap times to Fellows, and the last time by, a minute 13.6 for Fellows, a minute 13.9 for Jeff Gordon.
He is closing the interval, and it was more than a second. Now it's down to less than 3/4 of a second. We'll get the official interval as they cross the line. Here comes Tony Stewart, who is running just ahead of Wally Dallenbach. Just to show you what kind of a day Tony Stewart has had. He started in 4th position, has been as low as 39th, and as high as 5th, currently in the 6th position. Now that last lap, BP, Jeff Gordon was the fastest by just a tick of the watch, and he lengthened the interval just a little bit up to 0.8 of a second once again.
But it looks like those two cars are pretty doggone evenly matched.
And I'm sure that Jeff Gordon would like to make a statement here today. You know, a lot has been said and written about these experienced road racers like Ron Fellows and Morris said. And Gordon, of course, has established himself as being one of the greats in road racing, too. And he wants to prove to the world that on a given day that, by golly, he can run with them or outrun them. And right now, he's outrunning.
Jerry has more on the 39-year-old Canadian Ron Fellows.
Exactly, guys. Back at the last week of July, that he came up here to test, and some pretty good cars here, including Jeff Gordon, the car he's driving today, Dale Jarrett, and some others. And Ron Fellows, fresh off the truck, was the fastest of the cars in testing. Not only was he fast, he was very, very consistent. Car owner Joe Nemechek said we make no adjustments, and he's running laps at a minute 13 flat with minimal of change on the car. I think that's sort of stuck in the craw of some of the Winston Cup regulars. Now we're going to see if Gordon can stay out front or Fellows can duplicate what he did here in July and run him down.
Well, BP, we're going to let you go, but before we do, what do you think's going to happen here in the next 15 laps?
Well, it looks like it's going to stay about the same because one lap Gordon is faster, the next lap Fellows. But I tell you, Ron Fellows appears to me to be gaining a little bit on Jeff Gordon right now.
That seems to go up and down. Should be a good race. We're going to let you go because you need to rest, and we need to have you back next week in Michigan.
Fans, see you next week in Michigan. Bob, Ned, you guys, all you guys doing a terrific job. See you next week.
Thanks,
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Benny Parsons from his home in Charlotte after some eye surgery a couple of days ago. Less than 15 to go at the Frontier at the Glen. Gordon meets Fellows. Jeff Gordon has a 1.06 second lead on Ron Fellows. He's stretched it out just a little bit, and last lap he was just a tick of the watch faster than Fellows.
The last 2 laps he's been just a tick of the watch faster, Bob, and it was about 0.8 of a second. As you say, stretch it out to 1:06. Now that's not a long way, but you can see right there how far it is. And there's Rusty Wallace. He's almost 4 seconds behind Gordon.
For a taste of the race, here's the Jimmy Dean sausage telemetry on Rusty Wallace's car. Notice how he brakes hard going into the inner loop.
Yeah, that's the place you really have to get on those binders, then get off of them, get down the RPMs a little bit there. You change gears and then hits the brake a little bit going into this corner, and then it's going to accelerate pretty hard here for a little while, and you see those RPMs go up to over 9,000 there.
And up to over 160 miles an hour just briefly.
Goes into turn 10 there, brakes again, then accelerates short straightaway here into turn 11, a right-hander, and back towards the start-finish line.
And up ahead is the second place car, Fellows, but quite a distance.
But Ron Fellows did close into 2/3 of a second, 65 hundredths that last time, so his lap speed was 119.7. Jeff Gordon was just barely over 119.
And Rusty sees them up ahead as Rusty heads now up through the S's. Once again, we have a spin on the racetrack. Jimmy Spencer, stay out of the wall and stay out of the sand trap, and I believe he did both.
Boy, he did. That's amazing that he didn't get in there, so he keeps going. Shouldn't be any caution, but he lost a lot of position.
Oh, Ned, he was running in 10th position. Had a top 10 finish going here with 11 laps to go.
That's too bad. There's Mark Martin up in 10th now. Mark was running the 11th place.
He lost 10 positions. Will drop back to the 20th spot, coming out just ahead of Johnny Benson and Elliott Sadler. Here's a replay.
Well, let's see. Mark Martin looks like he's trying to get on the inside of Spencer, or either Spencer trying to get by. Yeah, Mark was trying to get by. And I don't know if they touched or not. It was hard to tell. They were very, very close. It was going into turn 1, but Spencer does a great job. Looks like he's going to get into the styrofoam bars there, but he made it.
And from the Jimmy Dean sausage on board camera being carried by Kyle Petty this afternoon. There is the incident.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of contact made, but Mark was trying to go by on the inside and had slowed down. Bill Elliott got by both of them on that start. Now we're watching Bill's car. Yeah, there you see the impact as Jimmy came down and Mark had to slow down and Bill Elliott went by. So Bill Elliott's now up to 10th place, and you see Mark Martin dropped back to 12th because Kyle Petty got by him as well.
And up front again, Jeff has lengthened the interval just a little bit last lap, went back to 0.8 of a second, and Bobby Labonte is off course again.
That's too bad. Bobby had gotten out there and had picked up the 27th position. There are 34 cars on the lead lap, so he was running 35th before he got his lap back, but now it's going to cost him some of those positions. But he's still on the lead lap. Probably going to be in about 30th position.
There'll be 9 laps to go when Jeff Gordon hits the strike, completing lap number 81. The interval between Jeff Gordon and Ron Fellows running in second position. We'll check the speeds here.
And Gordon was faster that time.
Jeff ran a 119.242. Second place, Fellows ran a 118.9, and Dale Jarrett, third quick, had a 118.866 that last lap.
They're still chasing the 9 car of Jerry Navy. He's been up on him a couple of times. Took a look inside going into turn 1 about 4 laps ago, but couldn't make the pass. So he might be content to sit there and ride. He's in a good position there. Nobody chasing him too close to him behind. Tony Stewart's running in 6th place. Got a good, comfortable lead over him. So 5th place would not be a bad finish here, especially Mark Martin running in 12th place, who is in 2nd place in the points.
And we have a record possibly broken here this afternoon if we can keep more than 30 cars on the lead lap. Let's go to John Kernan.
And I'm with Fellows crew chief Brian Patty. And Brian, do you have anything for that 24 car?
I would hope so. I just kept telling Ron to stay right there, put that yellow nose right there in the 24 mirror. But they're awfully tough. They're tough everywhere. He's Mr. Road Course right now. He's won 4 straight or something. So for this Bush team to put a car together, Team Sapco supply the motor. I mean, I think we're running exceptionally well. It's a win for our team if we can finish where we are. Chevrolet, Bully Hill Vineyards, I think they all should be happy.
I think so too. Running second right now, trying to run down Jeff Gordon. What about another car? Here's Bill Weber.
With Robin Pemberton, crew chief for Rusty Wallace, can you catch the leader and can you get to the finish?
Well, we're about 1/10 and a half or 2/10 off the leaders right now, and and as far as getting to the finish, that's probably just as close. So it's we might be about a half a lap short, but everything goes right, we'll make it.
You can tell just walking into this pit, they're very disappointed. They thought they had a shot at all the marbles today, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. It's going to be very close to even getting to the finish without running out of fuel.
And it looks like that Jerry Nadu is coming up and Dale Jarrett both coming up on Rusty pretty quickly.
They are gaining. Rusty is losing time to the leaders, and it might be because he's conserving fuel and knowing that he can't catch the leaders anyway. So the smart thing to do would be to conserve fuel, because, boy, if he runs out, even with a half a lap to go, he's going to get back to 30th position or something. So
that's right.
So
on board with Dale Jarrett, points leader, looking for his first NASCAR Winston Cup championship this year. That's Nadu up ahead, and up ahead of Jerry is Rusty Wallace.
These 3 cars are all running about the same speed in the 118-mile-an-hour bracket. Now so is Tony Stewart, who's running behind, but Tony's several seconds behind. As a matter of fact, he's about 4 seconds behind the 4th, 5th place car of Dale Jarrett.
Interval varies slightly from lap to lap, but Jeff Gordon maintaining about a 3/4 to 8/10. Now it's up to a little more than a second advantage on Ron Fellows. Fellows has 19 career wins in the Trans Am Series, Ned, including 2 wins here at Watkins Glen. So he's experienced on this racetrack, and boy, he has just had a tremendous race today as Ricky Rudd slows from the 9th spot.
Oh, that's too bad. Ricky had another good run going, and he needed another good run. His season has not been very good. He's looking for a sponsor, giving himself a deadline in the middle of next month. He's to either get a sponsor or he'll sell his team. And now having problems here today. Had a good run going, as you say, in the top 10.
One of 3 drivers who won in 1998, but has not won so far in 1999. What's the matter with Rudd, John?
Bob, Ricky's transmission is hung in second gear, and so we would expect him, no, it looks like he's not going to come into the pits this time, but he's just stuck in second gear, can't get it out. They've told him to just nurse the car as much as he can because they'd lose a lot of spots if they came into the pits. He says he's been jerking on the shifter, but it just will not come out of gear. Stuck in second gear. What a way to end the day for Ricky Rudd.
That's too bad because he has to be very careful now as he heads up through the S's. That's one of the faster points of the racetrack when he would get into fourth gear. So he's going to run those RPMs up there to where he knows the engine will stand it and let it go at that. And you see cars will pass him by because they're in high gear and running a lot faster. And then on the portions of the track where he needs to gear down, it's going to hurt him there as well. But it'll hurt him more on these long straightaways than anywhere else.
Another guy that has had a tough day is Bobby Labonte, who of course is very much in the points battle, but he is back in 30th position.
But that's better than he was going to be if had he not gotten his lap back. He was going to be 33 cars now on the lead lap, so he was going to be 34th or 35th, and that Interstate Battery Pontiac has taken a little bit of a beating. The back end has been, since he spun early in the race, as the aerodynamics have not been what they needed here.
And again, we remind everybody that he damaged a car severely in practice on Friday morning before qualifying. So,
yeah, his primary car, and they were really saddened about that, but it was not anything, just not anything that he did. A brake rotor broke on it, cut the left rear tire going into turn 9, and he spun it out. Actually, he didn't get to go through the inner loop, and spun it out and crashed the car.
Last time, the interval between Gordon and and Johnny Benson bangs off the wall, the guardrail, and this may bring out the caution.
Yep, and there'd be a break for those who, like Rusty Wallace, who is, caution is coming out, who was marginal as far as fuel is concerned.
There are 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go, and it remains a question mark as to, and Ricky Rudd has made it to his pit stall, and they work on that car, locked in second gear. Johnny Benson brings out the caution. Here he is. Oh, had a hard contact with the wall coming up through the S's on both sides of the racetrack. Now watch him go over here.
Yeah, he hit hard on that left side, much harder than he did on the right side. Of course, the car had slowed down considerably before he got to the other side of the racetrack.
Johnny Benson was running in 22nd position. The window net is down. He is out of the racetrack, of the race car. Jerry?
Ricky Rudd came down pit road. You heard John mention a moment ago that the car was stuck in second gear. The crew come under and was able to get it out of gear, so hopefully he can be able to get it, keep it in high gear and finish these last 4 laps or so. What a tough break for a driver who just needed a break here to get a good finish and try to attract some attention and sponsorship for next year.
16 consecutive seasons of winning at least one race, trying to extend that to 17 in 1999. There are less than 4 laps to go. We're under caution with Jeff Gordon leading Ron Fellows. Back at Watkins Glen International in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of central New York. This is the frontier at the Glen, the overhead shot of this 2.4-mile race course from the Pennzoil copter cam. Well, they are pulling Johnny Benson's car off the race course. He is out and okay, but when they come down to cross the stripe again, there will only be 3 laps left in this event. Now there is Ricky Rudd, who has fallen way back to 33rd position. The last car on the lead lap. Jerry Punch has more.
Bob, believe the kind of luck Ricky Rudd is having. His car was stuck in second gear. He came down pit road, the clue jacked it up, came underneath the car, and jammed it out of second gear. And you know what it had stuck? A piece of gravel. This piece of gravel here was jammed, had the linkage jammed where it wouldn't let it come back out of second gear. They pulled it apart, and this fell down from the linkage, and Ricky Rudd wants this to be kept as a souvenir of what this little rock cost him today at Watkins Glen. Now, there's also some concern in the Kenny Wallace pit. He has complained of a vibration in the back of the car. Let me go up here to Jimmy Elledge. Jimmy, what's the problem? I heard him say it's got a vibration.
We're not really sure. I think it might be these 2 pits. Ricky just had a rock stuck in his transmission, and he just radioed in and said that he's got a bad vibration. We're not sure what it is. He said it's in the back of the car, so we don't know if a gear's going bad or, you know, the drive shaft or even a loose wheel. We're not really sure.
Feel like he can make it the rest of the way?
Well, I hope so. You know, I hope this caution takes a long time and we only got to run 1 or 2 laps. That certainly makes me feel a whole lot better than having to run 10 or 12.
All right, they're going to hold their breath here in the Kenny Wallace pit, so late race problems for a couple of drivers.
Kenny Wallace back in the 22nd position. By the way, Ricky Rudd did lose a lap and has fallen back to 32nd. Now Ted Christopher driving the number 13 car in 24th spot. And again, we tell you that he finished second in the Busch North race here yesterday and won the NASCAR Featherlight Modified event yesterday afternoon. Doing a good job here in the Winston Cup race as well. Rusty Wallace is the road course ruler when you talk about active NASCAR Winston Cup drivers. He has 6 wins, started from the pole here today. Darrell Waltrip has 5 wins. So does Ricky Rudd. Martin and Gordon have 4 wins. Irvin and Bodine 3. But again, Jeff Gordon is going for his 5th consecutive win on a road course and is the leader at the moment, and now coming up on 2 laps to go. So we're not going to have much green racing here at the end of the event.
No, we aren't.
Check out the Hardee's field summary and show you the points as of now. If the race ended at the moment, Jeff Gordon would move to 5th in the point standings and knock Tony Stewart down to 6th position, although Stewart is in 6th spot. Rusty Wallace moving up 2, and Reddy down 1, and Wally Dallenbach up 3 positions to 15th.
Sterling Marlin would take a big hit, losing 3, and there's Steve Spencer and some other drivers had little, and Park gaining some, so would Kyle Petty. Kenny Irwin just made a pit stop. Good strategy on his part. It looked like they took on 4 tires. He was already at the back of the pack. He might be able to pick up several positions, even though they were only going to have 1 or 2 laps to go when they get the green.
Yep. Dale Jarrett, this is an interesting car, Ned. It's the oldest car that they have in their shop. They call it the Mule. This chassis was built back in 1992. It was raced at one time by Davey Allison, and it's the first time that it's ever raced as a Taurus. And so Jarrett has taken this old car to a very impressive finish here this afternoon.
And I think I just heard him tell his spotter or his crew chief, I'm not going to be too concerned about that spot being hit ahead of me.
Well, Jarrett, as we indicated, the points leader, possibly on his way to a Winston Cup championship, comparing his year in '99 to Jeff Gordon's year in '88 when Jeff won the championship. Jeff had more victories at this point in 1998, but Jarrett has more top 5s, has more top 10s, and has only 1 DNF in 1999. At this point last year, Jeff had 2.
Turn 6 right now. Hey man, get that thing cleared out, get the tires cleaned up.
Cycle going green here at the completion of lap number 88.
2 to go.
Can Ron Fellows catch and pass Jeff Gordon? And this certainly has been a break for Rusty Wallace because he needed to
save a half a lap of fuel. This should have done it for him.
Go, 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 go.
Jeff gets a great jump down into turn number 1. Everybody stacking up behind Ron Fellows. Look at Jerry Nadeau trying to get to the inside of Rusty Wallace.
But in the meantime, Dale Jarrett got around.
Yeah, Jarrett picks up a spot, moves to 4th.
Got around Nadeau.
And the scramble is on. This is going to be an exciting lap and a half here.
Jeff Gordon got himself a good jump. Look how far he pulled out ahead of Ron Fellows. He didn't want somebody to ride on that back bumper when he goes into this inner loop. Or any other turn.
Yeah, they come to the inner loop. Nadeau back in the 5th spot. There's Tony Stewart and Wally Dallenbach. Joey Nemechek, who has been strong all day. Bill Elliott 9th. And Kyle Petty running in 10th position. Good run for Kyle. Down to turn number 10. And the white flag is going to be out for Jeff Gordon. Off of corner number 11. 1 more lap to go. Jeff Gordon looking for his 5th consecutive road course victory. Everybody pretty much Watching single file now as they come down through here, at least among the first 6 or 7. There's Mark Martin back there along with Mike Skinner. There are 31 cars on the lead lap, and we can set a NASCAR record here today if we have that many at the drop of the checkered flag, and that's just a few seconds away. Only 4 cars have dropped out of this event. Gordon through the inner loop for the final time. But an impressive performance by Ron Fellows. And there is a spin
in the loop.
Inner loop.
That's what we hear. I understand it might have been Joe.
Oh, Nemechek. He was at 8th spot. And maybe Bill Elliott also involved, but he has made it through. And Nemechek is buried.
Yeah, he might not get back for that record that we were talking about. We need for all of them to get back, I guess.
Off of corner number 11. For the 5th consecutive time, Jeff Gordon wins on a road course. 3 here at Watkins Glen, 2 at Sears Point. It's his 5th win of 1999, 47th career win. It comes in his 210th start.
And bad trouble up here off of turn 10. Ted Christopher is off course down in the sand.
We understand that Dale Earnhardt is also damaged.
A lot of styrofoam all over turn 11 back here.
Let's go to Bill Weber, who's with Ray Evernham.
And Ray, congratulations, your 5th straight road course victory.
Well, it just says a lot about this team and Jeff Gordon. They worked real hard on the road course stuff. We've worked hard at it for a long time, and it's great to see him going. Got to thank God for giving us a beautiful day and letting us do this. I want to say hi to my man Tony. My big man Tony's in the hospital, and I know you're not feeling good, but this hopefully will make you feel better.
Got a talented road racer behind you there too down the stretch.
Got a talented driver, period. You know, he comes, he likes to test the road courses. He gets into it, and he comes here and he works hard, and he picks things, and this is one of the places he tells us what to do with the car.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Big Tony is Tony Gibson, who was on his way to the track here yesterday morning when he had a kidney stone attack. He is hospitalized here in the Watkins Glen area, and I'm sure watching, and sends his regards to his teammates as they head to Victory Lane.
And I sympathize with you because I know how painful those kidney stones are.
Me too.
A big crash up in turn number 11, scattered the styrofoam. As we indicated, it was indeed a big scramble on those last 2 laps, but Jeff Gordon comes home with his 18th win in the last 53 races. And emerging from his car, the winner of the Frontier at the Glen, Jeff Gordon. Here's our McDonald's Winner Circle interview and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, a nice cold sip of Pepsi and a big hug from wife Brooke. And Jeff, 3 in a row here, but 5 in a row on road courses. What a record.
Oh, man, that's amazing. I tell you what, this team just comes so well prepared for these road courses. And, you know, we've just worked and worked and worked on getting better. And I guess that test we did up here in Watkins Glen definitely paid off. I hate I didn't get the pole because I thought we were capable of doing that too, but I'd rather settle for this win. It was a great run for us. Man, the car was strong, and I was having a lot of fun, especially battling with Ron Fellows. I mean, there's no better guy to race on a road course than him, and I didn't think I could hold him off. He was catching me in some places, and I just stayed after, tried not to make any mistakes, and start pulling back away from him.
End of July, Ron Fellows came up here, and he was actually quicker than you in testing, and that had a lot of guys concerned, but you were able to pull away somewhat toward the end.
Yeah, you know, our car was just really good on long runs. When the fuel level went down, the car just actually got better. Goodyear brought a great tire up here. I mean, the concrete going to the pavement was a little tricky, but I tell you what, you know, these tires held up good, so we were able to go on long runs. I want to thank God. I mean, you know, we've been through a lot this year, ups and downs, and he's been with us during the down times, and he's been with us during the up times, and, you know, can't do it without him, and can't do it without DuPont Automotive Finishes and Quaker State and Pepsi and GMAC. You know, everybody that makes this DuPont Chevrolet go fast, we certainly appreciate it.
Hey, go celebrate and enjoy it.
You bet I will.
All right, Jeff Gordon takes his 5th consecutive road course win as the 14th running of the Frontier at the Glen is over, and the defending Winston Cup champion in Victory Lane.